Welcome to What's the Effort?
What the Effort?
Hello everyone. Welcome. We are here today with Adam Catledge, who I think is a very incredible person. And I'm very honored to have him and feel super lucky. I feel lucky about all my guests, but Adam was somebody who I talked to way back yonder. And I had written down notes and I had written on my paper, follow up with this one. He's a winner. And do you know how many times I saw that piece of paper? A million times. And you were at the original community camp, right? In 23. Mm-hmm. And I think we were like, barely said anything. And then
so many people.
I know, so many people, so little time. And then at this community camp this year, I was just like, oh, and he's like, oh, I didn't know you cared that much. I'm like, yes, I want you on my podcast. I want to get to know you more. And I'm very happy that you guys will be able to do that too. So thank you, Adam. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
I feel very honored. So I will start by saying World War Z was the movie that you chose. And I thought, wow, okay. Why? Why that one?
Yeah, so I had to go back and really look at it again and see why it was sticking out to me, right? And I think we talked about this before about next chapters and so on. And I think the one piece that really stands out, two pieces really stand out to me if anyone's watched the movie. And that's when Brad Pitt is in the car with his family and they're just enjoying their day, going about their business. And then all of a sudden their life is uprooted. Just, they never saw it coming. And that really speaks to me because you know, things can change in a moment, right? You know, lose a job, change careers, lose a family member, lose your livelihood, whatever, right? You never know what's going to happen the next day. So live your life to the fullest because you never know. And then the second piece was when Brad Pitt was in Jerusalem and he was standing there looking at all these zombies just coming over the walls and coming down the ramp. And there was one child, bald-headed kid that just crouched down and none of the zombies were attacking him. And you look at you and you're just sitting there trying to figure out what's going on. And then towards the end of the movie, it hits you, you know, why that kid was not attacked. And it was because he had cancer, most likely, right? Because he was bald-headed, he was there, and come to find out that that diseases that are deadly, the zombies won't attack them. So you never know. Something that's so bad can be so good. So that's why that's why I picked it.
Wow, that's pretty profound. That's pretty profound, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'll have to explain why. But yes, I think that's pretty awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyhow, I love the posters. I thought you looked really good on it. But I was also curious as to, why you had chosen it. Yeah. I want to I seek understanding of the people who I have on the podcast from when they are tykes. I want to know, what were you like as a little kid? Could you take a few minutes to talk to us about, what was your family upbringing like? Tell me a little bit about where you came from.
Yeah. So I grew up in a really great family, right? Small family, but, it was an amazing family. My dad was in the military, so military brat. So that's probably why I joined the military. But there's other reasons why I joined the military. But great upbringing between my grandparents being very involved, my great grandparents being very involved.
Seriously?
Yes.
Nice.
Between my mom, who's amazing, and and then just my brother, just everybody that's been in my life. I had a great upbringing. We weren't, the richest or, but we never went without. And so I was taught a lot of, I guess, respect towards each other, work hard, nothing's ever given to you. And
Right.
that's probably why when I grew up, as I grew up, I had, the entrepreneurial spirit between having, selling vegetables out of my dad's garden when he didn't know to be, when you go sell candy bars and stuff in elementary school, door knocking, that
Right.
was my first experience to door knocking. And,
With
to
candy bars, huh?
getting a job at McDonald's the day I turned 14, to paying for my own car and working 2 jobs in high school so I could pay for my own car and cell phone. Yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I think the first thing I ever sold was door knocking was Christmas wrapping paper.
I think I sold that too.
Well, I am going to share a little bit because you're just so darn cute. Which one are you?
I'm the one in the green, so that's me and my brother.
So you were the younger one.
No, I was the one in the green, so I'm the taller
You're
one.
the older one.
So I think we were probably maybe 5 years old, 5 and 3 or 6 and 4, maybe.
Cool.
I don't know the exact year.
Very
That
very
is,
nice.
but very young.
You guys look a lot alike because I was looking at it thinking, which one is Adam? But yeah. And I thought this one was adorable. This is your mom, right?
Yep. So that was in August of 2003, right after boot camp graduation.
Wow. Yeah, they're a little bit out of order here. I wanted to show, let me see Yep, we're out of order. This is what you get when you've only had 1.5 years in podcasting. Let me see. There we go. This is the one I really want to show. So let's look at it. I love it. I just love it. You look like it's so adorable. How old were you there?
Let's see here. I was probably 7 or 8. Probably. Well, let me take that back. Let's see here. I was probably in 4th grade. So, yeah, 4th grade. That was in California. We were stationed. My dad was stationed out there, and I was a young Marine. Right.
Now, was he a Marine? Was he a Marine?
He was. Yep.
And you went through as a Marine also, right?
Yes. So, yep. Followed in footsteps.
Were your either grandfathers in the?
My dad's father was in the Army, and then my mom's dad was not. But got a very long line of military service. My great grandfather, he was on my mom's side. He was in the Navy. My dad's dad was in the military. That great great grandfathers. I mean, all the way back through, Spanish American War, we can track. So
when they came when they came off the boats, probably what year was your lineage that you can track and say we arrived in America?
60 something, I think.
Seriously?
Yep, we can. I can trace it all. I can trace it back to on my mom's side.
So
I'm the 7th generation.
Are you Sons of America then?
I have no idea. So probably I don't know.
Are you aware of Sons of America?
No, I'm not.
Okay, you should check it out.
Okay.
Because if you can show, the way I found this out is when my husband was going through the Harvard Business School, we made friends with some of the wealthiest and people in the world because that's who usually goes there. One of the people that we met was Sarah Cabot. So there's an expression in American history that says John Hancock talks to the Cabots, and the Cabots talk to God. They were one of the very first powerful families that arrived. And as a result, anyone who was, down that lineage of the Cabots or Hancocks or any of the ones that are, the girls didn't change their names. They kept that name. Mm-hmm. And if you happen to belong to, they call that the Sons of America and the Daughters of America. There are so many scholarships and so much money available to the Sons and Daughters of America, but you have to be able to prove your lineage. So you might want to look.
I don't think so. I've got my grandmother, her nephew, I think not cousin. I don't even know but he did this whole lineage of where he was able to trace back to when it would have probably been what great grandfather came over to America. We can't see when his wife came over. She was already here, but it was before America was formed.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, that's something you might want to look into for, other family if you don't need the money. The point is that, it is pretty amazing to think that there are communities like that. A lot of times people will give money and they decide, who am I going to give my money to? And they were like, oh, blue bloods. That expression, blue bloods, comes not from the movie, not the television series, but from the fact that you can trace your lineage all the way back to the original Plymouth and, that sort of thing. It's got to do with being true blue. And I thought it was cute how they made the television series play twice, right? Because they went a couple generations of police officers in New York, but it's the blue blood, meaning that you're authenticated. And when I was working at UC Davis, the UC system has scholarships for the Daughters and Sons of America. That's how I learned about the scholarships. And then I asked Sarah Cabot, and she's like, when you have as much money as we do, you don't feel good taking that kind of scholarship. You want to leave it for others. And I'm like, awesome.
There's other people out there that deserve it more than I would if I ever found it.
Well, from that lineage, a lot go astray, meaning that they don't get poor. And she thought they should get that. And I was like, wow, amazing. But cool. I'm really, really impressed. Thank you so much to your lineage for that kind of service. That's incredible. All right. So we got to see a little bit about your mom. You've got a great relationship with her. And then I'm trying to figure out which way to go, because usually we cover this before, but we were on and off so much we didn't. Let me see here. Oh, this was an interesting picture. I like this one. Tell us a little bit about it.
All right. So this one was this was my retirement ceremony out in San Diego, California. That's me and my husband and my 2 golden retrievers. And the one right there that's with me, and I'm the one in uniform, and then that one's Bella. It's actually her 8th birthday today.
Oh,
and
cool.
So, and then the other one's Callie. But that was in San Diego, California. October 2022 is when I had my ceremony.
Wow. So tell me something. Was your husband also in the service? Because I think I have another picture. Whoa, I'm terrible with these pictures. I didn't get to number them to go through and see. Sorry, I got to find that one because it looks like, was he in the service as well?
Yeah, so he's
that's a great picture.
Yep. So that's in that is in Townsend in Cades Cove up in Tennessee.
Nice.
Townsend, Tennessee, right outside of Pigeon Forge.
You guys are the picture of happiness and health, and the pups look so happy. But this was the one. So tell me a little bit about this picture.
Yeah, so that was leaving Parris Island, South Carolina the first time. And then he just got off the drill field as a drill instructor, so drill sergeant for you non-Marine related people. And then, but he's still got 5 more years left in the Marine Corps. We're headed to California, back to California, San Diego, in March of
You
next
are?
year. And that'll be his last duty station before he embarks on his next chapter of retirement.
Wow. So you're a little older or you got in earlier?
5 years older, and I went in 7 years. Right, it's about 6 years more than him. So
Wow. Well,
yeah, so
you look very, very happy. I mean, I love the way you both look awesome. Where are you
thank
now
you.
that you're going to be going to San Diego? Where are you now?
So I'm in Beaufort, back in Beaufort, South Carolina. So he's on Parris Island again on our second tour here. Back on, he's back. Sometimes they do 2 tours as drill instructors. The first tour is 3 years, and then this is a 2-year tour. So this will be the last time he has to come. But it's the last. California will be the last duty station. So.
Now, tell me a little bit about you and the Marines. I mean, when you come from a kind of family that you have where everyone, had served, I think it would be more natural to serve. And you probably think about it earlier on. Had you put it in your head how long you were going to be in there and what you were going to do after? Because you're very young to have retired.
Yeah. So, in all honesty, I had no intentions of joining the Marine Corps at all. I had all intentions of going to college. Unfortunately, I did not enjoy living in Tennessee. I wanted to get as far away from Tennessee as possible when I was in high school. So I applied to go to college out in Hawaii. You can't go to college. You don't apply to go to University of Hawaii because you have to go to a community college first. But I applied for a private school out there, got accepted. And I thought I was going to go to college. I was going to go in the medical field, be a doctor or something. And because in high school, I used to volunteer when I lived in North Carolina, volunteered with the Red Cross, and I volunteered at the Naval Hospital on base. And I worked in the ER, the OR. I was doing midnight shifts just because I loved the adventure of not knowing what's coming through the door. And it was just so exciting. So I thought that's where I was going to go. And then my dad, he was a recruiter his last tour.
Oh my God.
And so he probably was smart. He was probably the smartest person I know with it because I had friends that were stationed in Japan that were their parents. And so he was like, fall break, you get 2 weeks off in your senior year and you're in high school. And he's like, why don't you go out to Japan to see your friend? And so I go out to Japan. And sure enough, as soon as I come back, a few days later, I'm like, hey, let's go. I want to go because the travel bug got me. So I signed up. That's the beginning of the story of the Marines right there for me, because I knew that I wanted to travel. I wanted to go to be stationed in Japan the first tour. And where did I go the first time? I went to Japan. So,
yay. Nice.
So I kind of knew, I had an inside, benefit of the Marine Corps going in because I knew where I wanted to get stationed, what job that was probably best for me to be able to be stationed anywhere, be able to travel the world. So I chose admin, to go in. And so I was an administrator so I could get stationed anywhere in the world. Went to Japan, left there, went to, did a tour with State Department, working in embassies as a Marine security guard, and just travel the world. Been to 40 something countries.
Wow.
So,
whoa.
So
that would
well
be
traveled.
Just to talk about that.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So, pretty cool.
Japanese? Did you pick up the language?
No, I didn't. No, I never picked it up. I learned it in middle school enough to get by because I went to a magnet school, and you had to learn a foreign language, and I picked Japanese.
Cool. Your dad knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So it saved him from having to pay for college.
Well, I think that's the kind of the least we could do for the people who have served. Unfortunately, as you know, because your company right behind you, Coast to Coast Vets, unfortunately, vets don't always really do well. I
That is
think we
true.
don't give as much support as we need to. It's a heck of a lot more than just saying thank you for your service.
Hmm.
And too many, get lost. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's the least. That's the least that our country can do, I think, for sure, for sure. So you went through, and what age were you when you retired?
So I went to boot camp 5 days after graduation from high school, June 2nd of 2003. I was 17 years old. My mom and dad had to sign the dotted line to let me go. I couldn't even sign to go in the Marine Corps myself. I had to ask for permission, like a field trip. And so I retired at 37.
Nice, nice.
So
Well, pretty cool. And did you know what you were going to be doing? Did you know you were going to be going into real estate? I mean, just retiring, that word retiring can get us on the wrong road sometimes because
it
it's like,
can, yeah.
okay, you're not going to do anything again. What? I said,
Yeah.
people say, are you retired? And I say, no, not really. And they go, well, then
Hmm.
you don't get this discount. And I say, yes, yes, I'm retired.
Yeah.
you know, I'm a
Well, I guess
retiree, but I'm not retired.
I retired the first time. Now I retired. I retired from working from anyone for anyone else. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, that's a good way
So
of putting it.
yeah.
Yes,
So I'll never work for anyone ever again unless I choose to. Like my
right.
dream job is to be a flight attendant. So
Really?
one dream job. Dream job is to be a flight attendant. So I am going to apply to be a flight attendant, just so anybody knows that they see me out there for a couple months. It's because I want to be. Right. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Anything that if it's on your
I said
bucket list.
I said I would work for free. I don't care. So just so I can say I did it.
Is
But
it so that, wait, is it so that you could help the people on the plane or is it so that you could travel? Why?
travel
What
for
about,
free,
okay. Okay. Gotcha.
free flights.
Yeah, because I was like, well, I mean, emergencies do happen. If you get that
Yeah.
adrenaline like you did and waiting what's going to come through ER, but not often. I would say that, the baby crying too loud is maybe as much excitement as you're going to get. So,
Yeah.
but traveling for free, that is cool. That's
So
cool.
real estate. So yeah. So real estate was not on my mind when I had never really thought about it. All I knew was you had to have a lot of money to be in real estate. You had to pay 20% to get into deals. You know, when when I decided to retire, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into sales. I'm gonna go into medical device sales or pharmaceutical sales because money will make your life easier. It doesn't solve your problems. It makes your problems sometimes worse, but it will allow you to do things you want to do a little bit easier. And so I thought I was going to do that. And then I had to slap myself and say, okay, you're not going to work for anyone ever again. So me and Caesar had owned our first piece of property back in 2016. We bought it. And
What kind of property?
it was a single family home here in Beaufort, South Carolina.
Oh,
And that was
nice.
our first home and we lived in it. And so I found out about Airbnb and I, convinced Caesar to let me rent out the downstairs bedroom. Well, then he would see people in the kitchen and me having continental breakfast set up for him. And he's like, no, this got to stop. Right. And so
But
I was
it
like, well,
made you money.
I'm not stopping. So I was like, okay, well, if you don't see them, can I still do it? So he's like, yep. So I just put a door on the outside of the house, had it installed, and it put a wall up in between the kitchen and that room. And so you never saw them, but they were in the house and it paid for our mortgage. So I did
Good.
not do any other real estate till then and didn't think anything about it. And then, went to Bigger Pockets. I was like, okay, let me go do this rookie boot camp thing. Made it to week 6 of finance week. And they started mentioning creative finance like real quick and Pace Morby. Well, then the curiosity, I don't have no money. I, was in the military and, I was not the best person with money saving. So I was like, let me see what this is. So I went down to YouTube University and the rabbit hole and found Pace Morby in creative finance. And, June 22nd, no, sorry. Yeah. June 22nd was, when I joined, I think it was June 22nd, when I joined sub 2, but I
What
will
year?
tell you that was of 2022.
Oh, June 22nd. Okay, so you
Yep.
joined just a little bit after me. I joined
Yep.
April 13th for Gator and May 1st of 2022 for Sub 2. Isn't it funny how you can remember the
June,
date?
June 25th. There you go.
Oh, you got it right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. June 25th. I had to go back and get it. I
Oh,
had
good.
to unpack it a little bit.
There
It's
you
been a
go.
lot
There
going
you go.
on in the last 2 years.
Yes, yes. Oh my God. You've been moving at the speed of light, but I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about your journey, and I'll bring up
Mhm.
pictures as they come along because I don't know which order they come in.
Yeah.
But tell me what you did once you joined, because you and I talked when you had just joined, and I think you
Hmm.
probably don't even remember, but I do because of the notes I took.
Hmm.
If I
Yeah, I remember you
when
out
I
there on
when I
Effie. I remember
go
you on the.
well,
I
when I
remember
go
you on the YouTube.
yeah, yeah. When I finally find that piece of paper, I'm gonna take a picture and send it to you.
Okay. I still had the messages when I think it was the first time back when I messaged you. So we talked briefly. And now I'm like starstruck over here.
Oh, get out of here. Tell me what you did when you first got in.
Yeah. So really, it's all about taking action, right? I gave myself no other option. There's no failure option. This is a zero fail mission, right? And I just went out there. I don't even think I finished the modules. I just went out there and started taking action. Getting on the phone and just failing forward, right? And when people told me no, okay, thank you, I appreciate it, and moved on next, right? And so my first deal that I got was in a lake house, right? It was a lease option, and I found it on market. The agent wouldn't even show it to me, and because he was too busy. So I was like, well, that's not going to stop me. So I went down there, knocked on the neighbor's house and was like, hey, does it flood around here? I'm looking at this house right here. And she's like, well, I don't know. I just moved here. And she's like, well, the owners are just down the street. You want to go talk to them? And so
Wow.
there it is right there. So I went and talked to them, and, I went back, and my grandmother, she was in the nursing home at the time, and I'd written out this offer on a big yellow piece of papers and I was like, something's telling me to go back and talk to these people. And she's like, well, go talk to them. And so I went back over there, knocked on the door. They invited me in, fed me some banana bread, and and we agreed upon it. And it they took it off the market. They paid their agent for like marketing fees and wrote me a lease option for 5 years on a lake house.
Oh, that's
And
so
and if I would
cool.
have never went back and knocked on that door, um, then it would have never happened. And then that was the first deal, and then it just snowballed after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
What
hit.
does Pace say that, you take the extra step that other people aren't willing to? Yeah.
Yep.
If you
And
hadn't
so
if you hadn't done that, then it just wouldn't have gone your way.
exactly. And I even remember my first phone call of like really my first agent phone call. It was to Stephanie Cox. She's a real estate agent. She's a broker too, right? And she just tore me one, tell me I was committing mortgage fraud. I was going
Oh,
to go to jail. I'm
did she
doing wrong by people and all kinds of stuff. And, I called her earlier this year on another house. She's like, yeah, Adam, I know what you're doing. I still don't think you're committing mortgage fraud. And I'm like, well, I guess, you know what, Stephanie, me and a bunch of attorneys, there must be a big jail cell around here that we all going to go share, so,
Yeah, they can be
but yeah.
pretty stubborn,
Yep,
right?
they
But
can. And if I would have stopped when she told me that, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today.
yeah.
I'd be sitting there building someone else's dream.
Yep. Yep.
You know?
So once you got that lake house on lease option, did you move into it or did you rent it?
No, we just because I got it at such a good deal, we used it as a family home until
Nice.
late last year. Yeah, May of last year is when we switched it over. Had it for about a year, and we switched it over to an Airbnb. And so it pays for itself. It pays for, it
Nice.
brings in revenue, and it's a great property. I think you're going to go check it out next month.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely I want to go
So
see it. when I'm down there. Yeah, very beginning. Yes, for sure. Don't let it book out that day, because I'm going to have to go and knock on the door anyways. I'm going to have to say, sorry, I was here and I lost my diamond ring. I'm looking for it. No, I don't know what to say, but I got to see it. So yeah, that'll be good.
So that was my first deal. And then I, just went on from there between sub 2, got my first sub 2 deal after that by just posting a quick message in a Facebook group, right? Just doing what people said do, right? And I did it, right? I just posted, hey, if you're looking to sell your property and you don't have enough equity and you can't afford to pay an agent, and you want to move, and you reach out to me. I could go back and find the exact words, right?
Cool.
But to that effect. And sure enough, they reached out to me and I explained what I was doing. And guess what? I bought the property with just closing costs.
Nice.
And that was my first time raising private money as well. I didn't even need the money, but I wanted to raise the money, So I raised the money for more than what I needed. And I went and used it for something else, use it for other property, right? So it's just, you just follow what someone's telling you, right? The answers are there. That was my thing, right?
Yeah.
What's people can give you all the answers to the test, all the answers what you need to do. But what they can't do is make you go do it.
Yep.
Right?
I agree.
And that is where, I took it upon myself to say, hey, look, if someone is passing this information to me, and why am I going to waste their time and energy to not take action on that information?
Yeah.
And if you do it, if you fail at doing it after they tell you what to do, go back, recalibrate, and then try it again. But most likely, as long as you follow the steps, you're gonna succeed. It's just
minimally you're gonna learn what not to do or what you could do better. So yes, you're right. I have not quite come to understand why some people will pay good money for mentorships and then just sit, and not do anything. I don't get that. I haven't been able to get that. I was itching to get out of the Vancouver. I love Vancouver, but to get over on this side of the border because it was COVID and I couldn't do things then that you can do now, like setting up my LLCs and stuff like that. So yeah, I understand taking action is critical. So you got the lake house, you got your first sub 2. Where'd you go from there?
Yeah. So then I just, I started to look at like the wholesale side a little bit, right? Because I was like, okay, buy and hold, let me wholesale, let me make some now money. And so then I was driving cross country. I was on with Caroline on a daily dial and linked up with one of the sub 2 students because she hadn't found her own home yet. And so we found one while I was driving across country. It was like, as long as you do the steps and get on the phone, it will come, right? And so we locked up one and we locked one on the way back driving across country. It was kind of crazy.
So you and Carolyn drove across country?
No, I was driving by myself.
Oh, okay.
And so, but I was on the daily dial and she linked us up with somebody else.
Cool.
And so did a wholesale for 2 deals. And then after that, I was back, met my business partner, Michael, Manatskanyan. And we formed Coast to Coast Vets, and we met at a meetup in San Diego. And so
was he stationed there or is he?
No, he was out of the Army at that point. So he started working for San Diego County. And then him and his wife were there. And so he had been on with, some of the SoCal accountability group and was explaining what he did. And so we just linked up and we meshed very well. And so we decided to go down this venture of Coast to Coast Vets. And, it's kind of hard. He kind of catfished me a little bit because I'm very visionary. And at the time, everybody's like, you can't work with another visionary. You can't work with you got to have an integrator. So, come to find out we're both visionaries, but it's good, right? Because then you have 2 different visions. You can do double the stuff because then you just find an integrator and work with both of you. And so, that's what we've done.
How find an integrator?
Through a lot of conversations and trial and error of talking to people, and we finally found Alyssa Ritchie, she's our COO now.
You're so lucky.
Yeah, so she's
So
our
lucky.
COO now, and she also owns Elite Hub, and so her and Kayla Appleman work with us.
Nice.
And so yeah, they bring what's in our heads and put it on paper, right?
Nice.
So it's like I always wanted Monday built out, and I could not get it built out the way I wanted it. And guess what? Alyssa did it.
So are you guys set up? Are you JVing together, or are you a business partnership?
We're part. I mean, we're going. Me and Michael are formed as a partnership, and so me and Alyssa and her, or Alyssa and Michael, we're forming our relationship right now.
Nice.
And so, date before you get married, kind of thing.
I agree.
Me, visionary. I'm watching us in 5 years all be there together. So I know it's a partner. I know it's a partnership.
Treat it like a partnership. Yep. I got you.
Treat it like a partnership. And so I see it as a partnership. But we haven't formalized, and this is me, right? Like, I'm not going to lie to nobody, right? So somebody would come in here and say you formed a partnership. I'm going to just tell you, we haven't put it on paper yet. But
there you go.
So that's just me. I'm an open book. If you ask me a question, you might not like the answer you get, but you're going to get it.
Oh, hey, that way you don't have to try to remember lies. I am a terrible liar.
Yes.
I can never remember. What did I say? Wait a minute. And I feel so guilty inside. Yeah. It's not worth it.
So our journey, we went and did, we've just grown so much since me and Michael, we linked up and formed our relationship and partnership in March of 2023.
Oh,
and
good.
So we're sitting here less than 2 years in a partnership, and we have already, we've acquired almost a little over $12 million in real estate.
Seriously?
Yes, in creative finance. And I can tell you to this day, I have never used any of my own money for acquisitions of a property.
I is so slow. I'm an idiot.
And so what we did, the reason we were able to scale so rapidly was because they always say, give it 90 days, give it 90 days for an exit strategy, get to know everything. Well, we did it and moved on, did it, moved on, didn't like it, moved on, didn't like it, moved on. And so we mastered the craft of I hate to say Steven's line, but highest and best use, right? Stephen Hunt.
Oh, so,
yeah. So his company, highest and best use, right? But really the highest and best use of a property, if it doesn't work for short term, make it something else. If it doesn't make for a long term, make it something else. Because there's no really reason why you can't use a property in most cases.
Right.
There are situations where you can't, and it's, understandably, like me and Alyssa were talking about one last night, there's just no way to bridge the gap, right? There's just no way to get there. And, but that's how we did it. And we started to, raise private money. We, worked with Pace Morby, we went to hire Amy Majuri as a coach as well on the private capital side.
Good.
So we went out and found people to help us with the problems we created, right? We went out there and created problems and asked the right people on how to solve those problems rather than going out and wasting people's time. And when there's already the answers there, you're just not going out and doing your part.
Yeah.
And so, and that's what a lot of people won't do is you got to go out there and disrupt a little bit and come back and recalibrate. And so that's what we did. And we scaled, over, properties. We have sober living homes now. We've got co-living homes. We've got fix and flips. We've got our first triple digit flip coming online, about to sell this into this, if we sell it, right, we may not sell it, but it could be a triple digit flip in Savannah, Georgia. But we've got short-term rentals. We've got, just a little bit of everything. The only thing we don't have are wraps. And I'm in the process of doing one right now.
Really?
So, yes.
Okay.
I don't, it's great. But we're in it for the long-term haul of, what's going to help us to our goal of wealth generating assets and our 5-year business plan.
What
And
is
so,
that 5-year business plan? What are you guys
yes,
doing? Talk to us about Coast to Coast Vets and your vision. I'm
yeah. So our
really
vision,
impressed. You're lucky. You're lucky knowing that both of you are lucky, you and Michael, because coming from a similar background like that, same with your husband, right? Coming from a similar background like that, you understand each other quite well. You know what
mhm,
they've gone through, and you get to
yeah,
being able to go faster with that individual instead of getting to know them and then realizing, oh, this or that, and how do you work around it? You've already kind
yeah,
of,
and it hasn't been easy, right? This journey is not easy. It's still not easy, and it's gonna get better with the more experience you get, but there's always going to be other problems, right? And
Mhm.
it come up. And I'm so fortunate to have Michael. And like I've met Michael, best business partner ever, because, I will tell you that some people would have, like, I mean, we've bitched and complained to each other and, you know, semi-depressed and cried and, all kinds of stuff. But, at the end of the day, we both understand our why, and and why we want it, why we're doing it. And we can see the bigger picture and focus on the future rather than the moment.
Right. You can get
and
over
and
it. Get over it.
you can get over it. And so, that's me and Michael right there in front of our first sub 2 deal together. That was actually a sober living home. We actually just sold that property. We owned
Oh,
it for just a little bit over a year.
why did you
Bought
sell
it
it?
for like because it was a sober living home, and there were some issues with the lesson learned HOA. So there were
Oh,
some issues.
would you not
But
swear? I mean, I don't freaking or effing care about normal swear words. That's okay. But that one I don't like at all.
but
HOA.
yeah, so which we won't buy in HOAs anymore. But so we bought that one and had a sober living home in there, and it was going great. And then unfortunately, the Karens of the community thought that it was a bad idea.
NIMBY, right?
And, you know, so, heck, I went all the way down to the city hall and had conversations, did even a public comment out there. And, shoot, if you Google Adam Catledge, you can find a news article on me, right? About, no comment. but,
That's
um,
so funny.
yeah, so that's Michael in front of our home. And we sold that one this last year. And, we helped a service member out buying that property for him because he was going in foreclosure. No one would
Mm,
buy it. And, we took over a VA loan at 2.87% interest rate.
nice.
And, so we took that and, we were able to profit on it at the same time as helping him out, because fortunately I could see his credit score rising
Yeah.
on the mortgage login. So
Oh, good.
when we would check
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we
That's what's going on with.
it was a help on many fronts on that one. Um, so
Yeah, it's
yeah,
one of
so
the nice benefits, right?
yeah, so our vision for Coast to Coast Vets, our long-term vision, is to generate, assets that are, creating equity at the same time as helping community and helping the people around us,
Mhm.
education of people that are getting into this community, and, mentoring the right people that want to actually take action. And, our goal is, and these are big numbers, right? You asked me the question, I'm going to tell you, right?
Yes.
So, our goal is in 5 years to have $25 million in equity and
Nice.
hundred
Well,
thousand
wait,
dollars a month
twenty-five
in
million in equity, but you've
yes,
already created 12.
yes. So, well, 12 million assets purchased, right? So there's still loans on
I
those, but
see. Gotcha.
yeah, but as we mix Dave Ramsey and Pace Morby together, we will grow our equity as we pay down debt
Hmm.
on loans
Yep.
and acquire strategic assets. And so, our goal is to, in 5 years, October 2029, when Caesar retires, to have $25 million in equity, and $100,000 in passive income coming in a month. That's where our goal is.
Wow.
It's a big goal, but I see it as an
You can do it.
opportunity, right?
You can do it.
It's a challenge, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if I can, and I if am
That's my line.
honest,
If Effie
I'm
can do it,
sorry, I have to.
you can
No, I have
effing
to.
do it.
Well, I believe this to my core, right? That if I can do it, right?
Yep.
Coming from no one in my family had real estate, right? No real estate, no idea about, it's complete band-aid rip right off from leaving my next chapter.
Yeah.
And if I'm saying honestly, if I can do it, anybody can really do it.
Yep.
But it takes action, right? Now, not everybody's meant to do it,
and not quitting and not
and not quitting.
because
And not every,
you are going to fall on your face. You are going to lose money, things like that. If you don't
Yeah.
quit and you keep going, of course you're going to succeed.
yeah. And real estate, right? It's not if, it's when you lose money,
Yes.
right? So, but you just got to be smart about it, right? You got to figure out how to lessen the loss when it does happen.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, we got a shitty rehab going on right now in Atlanta that we're losing money on, but but that's a lesson learned, right? We know we're not going to do that again.
The price you're paying to learn the lesson.
Exactly.
Totally.
And so, but it really takes, anyone could do it, but not everybody's meant to do it, right? And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
There other people have different ways, they have their own vision and their goals in life, and sometimes real estate doesn't align. But I see real estate as a vessel to help not yourself, but help others as well.
Right.
I agree. It helps both, right? Because people need housing, right? You can make money while helping people at the same time. I'm a firm believer in that. It takes money to help people. And I'm not shy about it either, right? Because with risk, there comes rewards.
Yeah.
Right. And so, it's not, I work harder now than I did when I was in the Marine Corps.
I understand. I'm working harder now than when I had 6 jobs. I had 6 jobs at one time. So I can afford for the lawyers that were going to break my father's will that said I don't get to get anything because I'm a girl, pretty much. Yeah. And I'm working harder now. And I'm loving it. That's the difference. Right? I love it.
But I am enjoying every minute of it, because even people would kill to have the problems, right? These problems.
Exactly. What a problem to have. Yep.
And I'm very fortunate to have these problems. I've worked my butt off and made the right choices when I was younger to stay in the military when it was rough. And that's probably why I stick it out during the hard times now and laugh at, okay, well, this is really not that bad. Yeah. Right. There's people that don't have a house over their, of their heads, and they're fighting for their life in foreign countries. And, it's not, it's a different perspective. Right. And I think, me growing up in the military allowed me to adapt, like condition myself to be prepared for the real estate life,
Yes. And to remember that especially as Americans, we have it so lucky. We're so lucky.
We do.
We can hate our president and we can still have freedom, whereas if you hate your dictator and he catches wind at all, you're out, you're dead.
Yeah.
Or like as a woman, I can fight my father's will because it's just not accepted as Canadian law when, I was in Canada. In other places, they would have said, how dare you? And maybe killed me, honestly. Or like yourself, you have a choice of your life. And I think having gone through that, I'm sure it helps you to remember it.
Mm-hmm. And it does. You look at things a little bit. You look at things a little bit differently, especially when you've been overseas and seeing. I used to live in Africa and lived in Haiti and so on, and it was, you see the different way other people treat you. Everyone takes for granted what they have here, and and that's why I always say that I think that the Americans should travel. Americans should travel abroad and see how good we have it. And I think it'd be totally different perspective on the way people talk about what we have here if they went out and saw what other countries have. Not what you just see on TV, right? Because what you see on TV is fake most of the time.
Yep.
And
Yep.
reality out there is, we're the greatest country in the world, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
And I believe in that.
Yeah, totally. And I agree with what you're saying. More Americans should travel. I would, if I had it my way, it would be part of the curriculum to go abroad and live with another family when you're either in the 11th grade or the 12th grade for the entire
Yep.
grade. And
Yep.
they come into your home. Their kids
Yep.
come in your home and you go in their home. You'd
And
make
yeah,
best
that's
friends forever.
yeah.
And you would really get an eye-opening experience, as you said.
My parents had exchange students in our house when I was younger, and it was is and guess where they were from? Japan. So,
Hey, the Japanese students are the
yeah,
easiest to have
yeah,
because they're
yeah,
super clean, super polite. As long as you've got rice in the house and got a rice cooker, if you don't have a rice cooker, go buy one.
yeah.
Yeah. I taught ESL for 13 years before I left Vancouver and had all of them. And then there was homestays, of course. So yeah, I
Hmm.
learned that. The Japanese are the best.
Yep,
But
yep.
anyhow, well, that's really cool. And now, besides doing real estate, one of the things you haven't mentioned so far is the businesses. And are you and Michael not doing that together? Just so I understand, because I got a
Yeah.
picture of a
So
dry cleaner.
okay, so I got this dry cleaners, right? And this is why knowing your partner and knowing you know what knowing each other, right? When you're in a partnership. And I was picking up keys to an arbitrage deal from this realtor, and just what do? I tell him what I'm doing, right? And he's like, "Oh, well, I had this deal fall through. You want to come take a look at it?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll go take a look at it." And it's this dry cleaners and bought in a business for sale. And that was Tommy and Tria Tucker. This Tucker Dry Cleaner has been around since 1946. And I talked
Cool.
to them, and and they fell in love with me, right? And so we negotiated a deal back and forth. And I bought this by myself with got the private money raised for the down payment. They seller financed the entire building to me, and for 5 years. And
Nice.
they we paid for the business. It was a quick asset purchase. But he was just ready to retire. And it's not the prettiest business, but going back to knowing your partner, I knew that this was going to be a hands-on business right away, right? And I did not want this to come in between me and Michael's bigger goal. And I knew that there would most likely be some resentment formed if I'm sitting here stressing out about a business. And I asked, "Hey, do you mind if I just take this on by myself, because it's here in my local town? Is that okay?" And it worked out great for us, because it's not been the easiest business to work on, right? It's not been, you know, what what everybody thinks it can be. It's stressful. It's very, but I see the bigger picture in owning the real estate. That's what I love, right? And I was fortunate enough to be able to buy the business and the real estate. So, it breaks even. It doesn't bring me, it doesn't pay a lot, but it employs people, it employs local employment.
Nice.
And so I can do that and didn't have to shut a dry cleaner, the only dry cleaner in town down, that
Oh, wow.
operates in Beaufort. Everyone else sends their stuff out, here in the
Wow.
local area.
Wow.
So it's I bought this one by myself, but it was a reason behind that, because I did not want this to get in between me and Michael's bigger
Right.
vision. And I could see how that's knowing my partner. I knew that it would cause friction.
Yep.
And I knowing yourself, you
Yep.
know. So but yeah, so I bought that one by myself. And yeah, so we bought businesses. I don't know if I'll buy another business.
Well, how about we ask you, in 5 years, right? We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Or talk with Abraham, right?
Yeah.
He'll explain it
And,
all.
and it may not be for me, right? Knowing
Mhm.
what you like.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
like short-term rentals and co-living.
Nice. Nice. Well, I
So
like co-living.
yep.
So hopefully we'll be able to do something together. I would love that.
Absolutely. I know we will. I'm putting it out there. I know we're gonna do something together.
Good. Good. Does Michael
So
know?
Yes, he knows. We talk about everything.
Now he knows. You can keep
Yes.
saying it over and over.
Right, Michael, if you're watching this.
Yes, of course. That's or when he watches this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So um, this is going to be on for a long time. And it's so interesting to me to see how numbers differ. How many people attend and what happens later. You'd be surprised. Sometimes you get a fair amount that come right away and then nobody ever sees it again. Or it's the opposite. They build over time. So I'd like you to give some advice to someone who might be starting out, let's say near the end of this year, and they come across this video and they're, a vet themselves or not. What would you say to them about where they should get started? What's the best thing they could do? Because I mentioned to you about the gentleman who reached out and wanted to know about sober living. And, and it was, I had to scratch my head for a minute. What would you advise when people are coming in and they're looking, and they're probably going to come from bigger pockets and or sub 2, right? That's those two. And they want to get going. How would you advise them?
So what I would say do is take a look sit down and say, where do I want to be at in 5 years? Okay. And look really hard at it. Do you want to be, sitting, at a 9-to-5 job, or do you want to sit there doing what you want to do when you want to do it? Or if you want to sit there and do a little bit of both, right? You got to sit there and understand what your why is, and understand that first, right? Now, then what I would say, technically what you do is I would learn how to underwrite. Okay. I would learn how to underwrite before you buy any deals.
Oh, yeah.
And
you're not getting a
deal. And what you can do is don't continue to over-educate yourself, right? You can strategically educate yourself, right? Go out, take bits and pieces of information, find a mentor, and follow their guidance. Find someone you trust, and you're going to go through many of them, right? In the Marine Corps, I used to have good leaders and bad leaders, and I would take my little leadership toolbox, and I'd take the good from some people, leave the bad out from others, and pull the good, little bit pieces, and form my own way of thinking. So really taking in, and looking at, how, like a strategy, and learn how to underwrite, but then work on that one strategy, right? Don't get the shiny, everybody says don't get the shiny object syndrome, but seriously, don't get the shiny object syndrome. Your shiny object could be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. I mean, look at me and Michael. We would do something like 30 days or 60 days. It really didn't matter. Once we did it, right? And then moved on. But, because there's going to be a lot of people that say, you're going to see what other people are doing out there, what other people are working on, but don't worry about what other people are doing. Worry about what you're doing. And, but technically you want to learn how to underwrite first so that you can look at deals and see if it's a good deal to buy, because you can go out and buy a deal, right? If it's a good deal, you can go out and buy it and use other people's money, right? Partner with somebody out there that has the money that doesn't know how to do real estate. Or if you don't both know how to do real estate,
or doesn't have time or whatever,
or doesn't have time, right? But underwriting before you buy is so important, right? And just following through with the steps, right? There, look at all these big people, look at people out there, most people did not start with, hundreds of millions of dollars in homes and stuff like that. Everybody started out with 1 or 0, right? And then just moved on, and it's, sometimes you grow to 1 home and stop, right? You grow to 3, you could grow to 3 co-living homes and retire, right? You could be done, right? 3 or 4, and you'd be set for the rest of your life.
Yep.
That's how I look at it. And you don't think you have to have 2, 3, 4, 500 homes, right?
Wow. That's a lot.
Some people think about that, and I don't, look at where you're at. You don't work to be a billionaire. Don't say, oh, I want to be the Grant Cardone. I don't want to be the, Jeff Bezos. I want to be wealthy, but I want to be wealthy. I don't need to go buy Lamborghinis, right? I know my lifestyle. That'd be nice. I want to just be able to do what I want to do when I
You
want
do
to do
want
it.
a Lamborghini or you don't?
I don't. No,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't need to be a billionaire. Would it be nice? Okay, yeah, but it's just another zero, right?
Yeah.
But work towards your lifestyle you want that can better you and better someone else.
Right.
But yeah, sorry, that was a tangent. But really underwrite.
Learn
how to underwrite.
Yes.
That's my visionary in me, right? Like I have to bring it back in. And but underwrite, and then the deals will come. And then that is the most important piece of any type of partnership. If you can underwrite a deal, then you can go to any group of people and show them how to make money on a deal. That's my thing.
I
and
have
just
to agree.
don't get the FOMO, right? And know that not every creative deal is a good deal.
Oh,
because
no.
Every seller, people get
the deal of the century comes along every single day.
Yes. So, and know who to work with, right? We turn private money down. We turn partnerships down because they're not the right fit for us.
Yeah.
And so, staying true to you is really the best way. It's like me, right? I'm not going to lie to you. It's some people don't like it. I tell people when they call me, I'm like, look, may not like what I'm going to tell you, but I'll, if you want to talk to me, so be prepared.
I love that about you, and I love everything about you, actually. So thank you. Thank you very, very much. And
and then real quick, I would love if just scan my little QR code if you want to get a hold of me. Up here. So it's out there in the internet space now.
Yes,
it's got my contact details.
And reach out to him. And also, he's going to be starting a YouTube before long. So watch for it. He's on IG. Make sure you follow him, of course. And we welcome. I'd love to have you back. I'd love to have you and Michael back, and maybe Alyssa too. Like the foursome. See how you guys got this thing going, and just
try it maybe like a year or so, because we're not the best three to get on a podcast together. So we like to do our thing separately, because we like to talk over each other, and then I'll just sit there and be quiet, and then just.
Oh, I love it. That's hysterical. A year sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll hone in on it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate you being here, and we remind you next week we'll be back again. Take care.